Hey guys, welcome back to the Made Men podcast. This is David Sloan, your host, and I'm with Adam Carroll, my co-host. Adam, how are we?
All good now, Dave. What's happening?
How are things? How's the old lockdown college situation?
Yes, Grant. To be fair, I don't know if I said it in like a recent one, recent podcast, but I just have a diary there and I just throw everything I need to get done, like for the next day. Like so at night, around whenever I'm going to sleep, I just jot down a few things, and then in the morning, if I think of more, I just throw them down, get them done. And yeah, it just kind of helps as well with the with when like videos are like not live, they're all like recorded, so it just makes you do them
Oh
like
yeah,
it's like the OCD. You just got to tick that off, like do you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's
no,
like,
I get you.
but
Yeah,
yeah, no, everything's good though. Yeah, I'm chilling. How about yourself?
that's great. Yeah, yeah, tipping away with the old study psych way. Good one. All right, so today's topic of discussion is the negatives about social media or everything that's wrong with social media and the dark side around social media. So, Adam, go on, start us off. What do you think about the whole idea?
Uh, so social media, as we all know, there is so many great things to it when that comes to either a business, promoting uh, your business, or like promoting anything really, like or new TV shows or whatever. It just you just see it everywhere. And when it comes to buying products and everything, it's just kind of on everything. Like everything is everywhere. Like just type it into a Google search and you can get whatever you want. Everything's just on demand. Um, but that can also be a negative thing, I suppose. That's kind of the first point I wanted to talk about, was that everything you want is on demand. And yes, that is a good thing. But if you also think about it, you start becoming kind of a lot more privileged and a bit more kind of entitled to something. You know what I mean? You say you buy something, when you think of it that moment, you're like, I want it now. So you get it the next day. It's you buy it from your couch, your bed, whatever. Um,
You're constantly in search for instant gratification.
Bingo, yeah. And when you get that at a young age, especially with kids nowadays, like um I know people in my like younger ones in the family, or my younger friends family, and that my younger family's friends, sorry. um they're able to go onto YouTube and throw on their favorite cartoon or whatever, and before they can actually structure a sentence properly. That's going on to another point now, but that's just, you start young, and if you want something, it's bang, it's it's instantaneous. You can get whatever you want when you want it. And yeah, obviously that's great for like Amazon and stuff. They're making huge money. Look at Jeff Bezos, you know what I mean? He's a billionaire because of that sole idea. But when it comes to people and that, you kind of get people who are more kind of less patient, and when they're working and stuff, and they don't think they're doing, they feel they're not adding to a situation in, say, now a period of less than a year. They think, oh, I'm not really doing well in this job or whatever. You kind of, you're looking at things like very you're looking at something as if, oh, it should be done now. A big thing
No,
should
I
happen
see. I
now.
see what you're saying. Like
Yeah,
I, in one sense, I agree, and in the other sense, I kind of disagree. But the overall point that you're saying, I do agree.
yeah.
It's like I think,
I also agree and disagree with it. Like, as I was
yeah,
saying, like,
I think there is nothing wrong with constantly trying to improve like humanity and technology and getting things like being able to do things easier, like the small
yeah,
tasks. But I think when that begins to affect like people's mentality, and that they can't even have the concentration span for anything because they're so used to just being fed information instantly,
yeah,
um, then I see that's a bit of a downside. Like like if you can't sit and have a conversation with someone for a long period, or else you get bored. Like there's something seriously wrong there.
yeah.
so like I think it really goes down person to person. I think if you're like a normal, mature kind of individual, you should be able to understand when you need things now and you think that's great, or when you can just, understand that there's a process that is worth going through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, you were saying that there, for me as well, I'm not just saying like, oh, other people are privileged. I'm saying I'm privileged as well. Like I want something now and I want it, at that moment. Or, when it comes to my attention span, it's actually getting a lot worse. Like when I'm watching YouTube or something, you ever see like,
The ads come up, I actually snap.
yeah, it's 5 seconds, but that's one thing, right? But like, come back, say now, if you look at, let me just think of like a Logan Paul vlog or something, like back in the day when you were younger and you'd watch it. Well, I know you mightn't, but you watched, say, now Casey Neistat or something, and everything just, it's moving from one thing to the next, and it's quick, it's the laugh, and then you're on to the next thing straight away. And the problem with that, right, and I'm a huge culprit of this, right? You're in watching a live lecture now for college, and you're probably the same with school, and you just pick
Bored
up
off your game.
exactly, and the thing might be interesting, but you're not fully capturing what's happening because the simple fact, you're losing attention because you're so used to seeing so many things happen at the one time.
You constantly need to fill the gaps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like there's a couple of minutes and you're like, have you ever gone to the toilet and sat there and then just like not been on your phone?
No,
like,
I cannot.
like, you know what I mean? Like you're on average, you're probably there for about 5 to 10 minutes max,
Yeah,
unless now it's a really bad one. And you can't even go on you can't even like leave your phone. Or like some people, like they'll be upstairs, they're going downstairs to get something to go back upstairs, but they won't be able to leave their phone upstairs. That's a serious problem.
When you leave the house, when you leave the house, and you forget your phone, you actually genuinely feel naked, and
I start crying.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And you're just like, oh shit, this day's gonna get worse. You know what I mean?
It's all downhill from here.
I think like a huge thing now, which really kind of summarizes like our attention span, it's like TikTok. 10-second clips. After watching one, you're onto a completely different category for literally 10 seconds, and you're going through it, and you see what I mean. You're going from like so many different things in like, say, the space of 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, like I love it from the business point of view of like they know exactly how to just ruin us. Like they know exactly how to get to what we need. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
they're not gonna watch that. Now we're gonna make it like 4 seconds long, and like they're so intelligent, and they hire psychologists, and they like really get down to how to get into the brain of the consumer. But from the consumer point of view, like, oh my God, it's actually scary.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely. The thing about phones we are all addicted to phones. If you think like, I'm looking at this like kind of a whole. I think everyone is addicted to their phones. They'll wake up every morning. That's the first thing they check. They don't just get up out of bed and do something. No, they'll check their phones.
Well, I don't think that's a complete negative either.
Oh no, yeah, but do you see what I'm trying to say? It is an addiction, like.
But I think if you look at it, like I think you're looking at as well. We're both looking at it from the perspective of 2 young lads who are still like living at home in a lockdown, and you can't be with anyone, or it's difficult. I think like if you picture yourself as a 28-year-old living with his girlfriend or whatever, are you going to be on your phone 24/7? Like you probably won't be.
What I'm saying is, when you wake up every morning, you'll check your phone before you talk to someone next to you.
It's a fair point. It would happen.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
It happens to too many people, I think. Yeah,
it happens to everyone. Like, like from my mom to myself to anyone. Like, you'll wake up and the
who are
first
you
thing
waking
you
up
check
next
is your
to?
phone, because it. Oh, I don't know. No, single bed like there. No, but do you know what I'm saying? You're
No, I
waking
know
up,
what
and
you're
that's the
saying.
first thing you're checking. you're sitting down and you're in a waiting room or something. The first thing you're doing is checking your phone. People don't
And
watch TV.
you'll actually feel uncomfortable if you're sitting there just
Yeah, if
staring
you
into
don't,
space.
yeah,
You're just there smiling like.
that's the thing. It is a problem, but no one really kind of addresses it.
Or like, imagine you're sitting on a plane and you're just sitting there.
No, I could not. No, absolutely not. But that's
You're
the other
just
thing.
staring
That's why
straight ahead.
I genuinely think TV is dying because
Because
of
terrible.
adverts. Yeah, but the way, like, say now a soap, for example, or like the omnibus on the weekend. Now I'm on about it comes on during the week, the weekdays, and because you have to wait for the next episode to be aired the next night, you kind of lose interest over that, or your next episode of your TV show is coming out next week, and that's how when you're younger, that's how it happened. Or that's how you'd watch your shows or whatever. Like I could tell you the cartoon hours of which shows were coming on next on certain channels when I was younger. That's because that's how that's what I was looking forward to. But now we have Netflix and Amazon Prime and Disney Plus, and you can just keep going. You can
And
binge through
Apple
seasons.
TV and
I think
Hulu and HBO, and like they're all
exactly,
making
yeah.
their own ones.
And if you think about it, yeah, it's cool. You can you're definitely entitled to it. But is it healthy? Is it healthy to watch these shows, binging it? Like, we all know binge eating's wrong. So is binge watching a bad thing? Is it a good thing? What would your
I
take be on that?
I think your overall point of people on being unable to like wait for things is a fair point. I just think when you're looking at it like minutely on a specific topic of you're not able to wait till next Friday for a TV show, like I wouldn't really care about that you're not able to wait for a week for a TV show. Like, if you want to watch 7 TV shows right now, you watch 7 TV shows. I'd look at the broader image of that, of like, you're actually the type of person that is like going to sit down and spend 4 hours watching a TV show,
Yeah,
and you've nothing else to do with your life. You know what I mean? Like, that's the broader
yeah,
issue
yeah,
there.
no,
So like,
yeah,
if I'm a company, like, here, I'd leave you watch 200 hours worth straight on if you want. But
yeah,
like, if you're actually that person and that's all that you have going for yourself, like, you're rock bottom. So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
would reevaluate your goals and your objectives if you're able to do that. But
and
like, I
yeah,
completely agree with your whole overall point of like, if you
yeah,
can't sit and wait for something, then there's something wrong.
and yeah, the thing about uh, uh, see, this is an interesting one for me. When you go on your phone, in your mind, in your brain, sorry, it releases dopamine, good
Hmm.
endorphins in your mind, because you get a text from someone and you're like, oh yeah, it makes you kind of feel a bit
Yes,
happier,
get in. She texted
and
back.
that's the exact. It's this yeah, it's the same kind of thrill as the same dopamine is what's in drinking. It's the same dopamine, it's the same endorphin that is released during drinking. There's for gambling, for
Any drug.
smoking, exactly, drugs. But phones are the only thing that aren't age restricted, aren't legal or illegal. You know what I mean? Anyone can go on a phone, and it's very, it's interesting. How could you taper that down for maybe younger people or even older people? Like, how can
That brings me on that brings
is that one of your
me,
points? Yeah,
yeah, kind of. It's a nice transition onto that.
transition.
um like, so you were looking at things from more of the overall perspective of the actual thing, but I think people need to look at it that a phone should be a tool, just like a computer is a tool, and it's not
Yeah, yeah,
something that you need like all your, like, every hour or every minute of every day. I think if you need to communicate with someone, fantastic, you have this mini computer that is ridiculous in your pocket. um,
yeah, yeah,
I don't see why that's bad. But with the children scenario, I
yeah.
think
That's a
social
big one.
media,
I have a couple things to say on that.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
go
think
for it.
social media needs to be looked at in as the culprit for
Social
all.
media.
So yeah, I think so, like Instagram, Snapchat,
What
TikTok
age
now.
kids are you speaking about? Just like
Yeah,
from
so 12 to 17, I would say.
12 to 17. Okay.
Yeah, so I read some stuff, bit of a nerd reading facts and figures. So back in the 90s and like early 2000s, there was no social media, there was no phones really, any of that stuff, and depression and anxiety levels were
Yeah, low. Yeah.
they were fine. Like
That was one of my
everyone,
points. Yeah.
yeah, everyone has them, normal enough. But then in 2012, everything begins to skyrocket, in particular for girls and in guys too, but not as much. And we'll get into that why. But in girls in particular, it skyrocketed. Self-harm went up 62% since 2009 between the girls aged 12 to 17. And now 1 in 5 girls have had a major depressive episode.
Yeah.
Like, that is crazy.
That is
and
ridiculous.
and if you're looking at the time frame, what happened around then? People started to get iPhones because they were getting more popular. Instagram was launched, with Facebook was launched, like Twitter, Snapchat, all of these social medias started to really hit the ground running around that time. So what's happening really is social media is causing a rise in depression, anxiety, self-harm, suicide across the board for young people. Now, it did affect girls more than guys at the beginning, and that's because if you look at guys, we're more confrontational in person and physical, and a guy will deal with something by pushing a fella or punching or fights or
Yeah,
whatever.
physical. Yeah.
Yeah, where
Destructively, yeah.
yeah, where girls wouldn't do that. They're more about spreading rumors, lies, like relationship kind of aggression, being quite manipulative and sneaky. Um, and that social media is perfect for someone to do that. We can already see how social media is like with that
Yeah,
now.
absolutely.
So that's why it affected girls more, is because the tool that they could use to bully was perfectly made for their type of bullying. Now, things start to kind of take a twist then when you look at it recently with guys, in that theirs is rising relatively high as well. Now, why do you think that would be, if you were to take a shot in the dark?
Why do I think what that?
Recently enough, why guys' anxiety and kind of depression has gone up a little bit more than what it was? Because if you look at guys back in the day, like, what you gave a guy a computer,
Back in the day. Yeah.
you gave a guy a computer, he's playing FIFA or he's playing Call of Duty. Like, the girls weren't doing that. Like, they didn't really care about social media. But what's going on now?
I've no idea. Could you?
I'll answer.
I'm
Like,
very.
the fitness industry.
Yeah. Oh,
Look
yeah.
at
Yes.
look
Yes.
at
Yes.
guys and the fitness industry, and
Yeah. Body
seeing the
dysmorphia
body
stuff. Yeah.
dysmorphia, seeing all of that. That has happened over the last couple of
Fake
years.
natties and everything. Yeah.
And now 15, 16, 17-year-old guys who are normal are looking at these absolute roid heads on Instagram being like, oh, that's what girls like.
Yeah. I
Now I'm
actually
gonna
take some creatine.
yeah.
Yeah.
And now they want to, that's where that's happening now. And it's it all stems back to the one thing, which is social media. And like, if you look at it, like, it's so invasive in ways. Like, Snapchat has maps where you can literally see when someone is active.
Yeah.
Instagram, you can actually see as well when people are active on it, with the whole in the DMs with the green button thing.
And just their stories, then you know what I mean.
Yeah, you
So
can see
not
people's
users.
story and like seeing what people like and comment.
Yeah,
And
isn't it? I don't know if that's still on Instagram actually. You know the way when you can, it used to be there where you can like see like recently liked on a,
oh
I think,
yeah, they
do
got
you
rid of
remember
that.
where you could literally see people, just liking any public post, or you know what I mean.
But
It's
that
kind of
would
crazy, but yeah.
but like, that would cause so much like worry and anxiety for people. Like, oh my god, he liked that and he didn't like mine, or she liked that and she didn't like mine. And like, that's scary. Like,
Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah, it's see, that's a you were kind of touching on it there when you were saying like Snapchat and that, and about the maps. Like you can literally watch someone go about their day. Like you know what I mean. You can see when they're online. You can see where they went. It is
You can even see if they have headphones in and they're
yeah,
listening to
yeah. Listen to
music.
music. Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
what?
Sure, look it on Spotify. It's not on your phone, but on the laptop, as
No,
you know,
yeah,
you can see what people are listening to, even which is, and then if you want to listen to that, you can just press on whatever playlist they're playing. You know what I mean? Which again, you can even tell what like if they're listening to it currently or when the last time they were using Spotify. I know
yeah,
you can turn that off, but like I didn't know about it until I got my Mac, like,
right,
and I
yeah.
saw. Do you know what I mean? Like that is scary. It actually is kind of weird.
It's messed up. Like if you
Yeah,
really break it down and you
yeah.
look at it, there's like privacy is gone, and it's like people are affected then by it because it's like they like insecurity, like just pure levels of insecurity just rise and it goes through the roof.
Yeah, I don't really want to touch too much on the fitness aspect on this.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
we
yeah.
said, we'd save that for another podcast, but it's that'll we'll definitely go over that more. Something I wanted to say actually was kind of another kind of downfall. I think more towards even younger than 12. You know the way you were saying, kids with social media. I think kids like from the age of 2 till yeah, maybe up until about up until like what 10, 12, they find it very, very hard to, depending now on what, like, how parents parent their kids. I don't know, what overall, whenever I see kids are from my cousins or whatever, you see that they're very, very advanced in using iPhones and stuff. My baby cousin can use an iPhone quicker than my mom, like, and which is ridiculous, but yet he struggles to come out with his emotions. And you see it in kids all the time. If you are out and about, you'd see kids getting frustrated over small things. They can't I saw a couple of like YouTube vlog channels there, like family kind of channels, and you can see like the kids aren't being stimulated like vocally, like they're not speaking much, they're watching the videos, they're obsessed with it. You know what I mean? If something's not going right, you can see them going to nearly a ball of anger over it, when it definitely stems to phones and technology, and you know not being able to string a proper sentence together is quite alarming, if you
But
ask
I
me.
think that goes down to the parenting.
It's definitely to do with parenting, but I understand why parents would give their kid, like a kid, a phone or whatever, or a tablet or Mac or whatever, any kind of device, because parents, they're busy. You know what I mean? Whether that's working or whatever. I know now you can, um, they'll throw on the telly while they're cooking or cleaning, or when they're doing anything, going shopping, they'll just give them the phone and while they're doing the shopping or whatever. And yeah, it's a good, as you say, it kind of going back to your point about, yeah, phones should be used as a tool, but yeah, and maybe a parenting tool, but it's a bit more than a tool, isn't it? It's more.
No, it is more than a tool, but I think that's why children shouldn't be exposed to it because they can't use it as a tool.
When are they exposed to it then? When would you say? Is there a.
It depends. Like I think a phone is fine for like a 12-year-old kid or whatever. Um, but I wouldn't say social media.
So, but what you're saying is they can watch
So like if they want to
like
watch
cartoon.
YouTube, if they want to watch YouTube, or they want like the YouTube Kids, there's like the whole YouTube Kids thing, and like if they want to watch Netflix, or they want to watch like like whatever, if they like, because there was TVs back in the 90s and the 80s as well. Like it's not like
I
all of a
know,
sudden we've reinvented
but
entertainment.
you see,
Well, we did, but
but if you think about it, by doing that, you're still, just because they're not on Instagram or Facebook doesn't mean they're not going to they're going to develop properly. They're still watching YouTube. If they're on
yeah, but
like,
you shouldn't be giving it to them just so that you have an easy life. Like that's the parents' fault.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
should be
yeah,
it should be
I agree.
like a not even like a treat, like, but you know what I mean. Like you don't go into a shop and you hand the kid a TV like to keep himself entertained. So like if your kid's in the shop, right, like why would you give in and like feed this habit of needing to be like stimulated by entertainment at all costs. Uh, but I think like if they want, there's nothing wrong with them as well experiencing like entertainment and Netflix and YouTube at certain times, just once it's kind of monitored and controlled and not overdone.
Yeah. Um, Also on the topic of, kids and social media and technology, do you think that kids don't try as hard nowadays because of the use of technology and social media or whatever? Do you think they try less because of it? When it
No,
comes to sports and stuff like that? Because
but it depends what you mean by try less, like in particular in sports or what.
yeah, in particular sports, yes.
Yeah, like I think kids have more options of like what they're um like there's more things that they could use as a hobby, or there's more things that they can do due to technology. People will like video games, or people might like um coding, or people might like movies and just editing movies or creating movies or TV shows or YouTube videos or making music. Like there's all of these tools and like hobbies that kids can have now that weren't there back in the 90s and early 2000s. So like back in the day, a big hobby would be like playing sports. Like that was the huge thing, and like it is still the huge thing. But I think there's more of a gap there for what kids can do now. And
I'm just saying it's like it's kind of a declining thing. Kind of kids kind of playing in parks and stuff. You never, when you're
yeah,
younger,
yeah, I
that
agree.
like down the bottom of
Yeah, well,
your head.
yeah,
That green, I suppose, when you were younger, everyone was out all the time.
yeah.
Playing a game of ball or
On the
whatever
road
else.
as well, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it was the same when I used to go to my friend's house and stuff. That's all you do. You climb trees. You go playing football, soccer. Even hurling when if there's nothing else to do.
What? No, no,
Yeah,
no.
so you just do anything because that's what you did as a child. But I feel this is kind of my point, being that kids aren't playing as much sport because of social media and stuff. You know what I mean? Like if I was younger, and I because I like putting myself in both scenarios here. If I was younger now and I was to have a phone like what we have it as advanced now, you know, I would think I would definitely spend more time on TikTok than I would out in the grass. You know what I mean? Out playing. And I feel like that would be, if I'm thinking that way, I think a lot of other people would as well.
No, no, I agree with what you're saying. I 100%, but I don't, I blame that down to the parents as well. I think you should definitely be allowed have devices if they're used in a normal way, like not in an excessive amount. Um,
But that's
and
the
I
problem though. Like everything is an excessive amount now.
Yeah, so
What
that's
we
why I
think
think
is,
like you should like that's why I think like no kid below like 16 needs like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, like the whole shebang. Like
why do
what is
you
the
need it
point?
and they don't?
Which mean why do I need it?
What like you use it, and would you say you need Snapchat and Instagram and everything?
I don't need it, but I think I would be more mature and understand the negatives
Yeah, the
and the
negatives.
positives. Whereas I think a 12-year-old who's just experiencing this whole thing for the first time, he's not going to understand
Yeah,
the positive and the negatives. So
yeah,
I think
okay.
if you restrict it for that age, so that they know that like it's kind of a mess, like it's a big thing, like it's a big deal. I think back in the day you could say like, oh, nobody really knew like what it was, like it's a new thing, sure, what harm could it do or whatever. But I think now we know for sure through data and through studies that like there's a lot of negatives that young people with social media if they get access to it too early. So I think if you restrict that, then what they're going to be like glued to Netflix for 12 hours of the day. Like realistically that's not going to happen. So they'll enjoy their Netflix or their YouTube or whatever, and they might message their friend to go out and play football or message their friend to go out and do whatever they're not. And I think like it's still like like probably like a 60-40 of outside activity versus like indoor video games and stuff. I think if you were to parent it properly, like it would be like during the day, if a kid wants, like why would a kid need to wake up at, like, let's say it's the weekend, wakes up at 10 o'clock. Why would he start playing Call of Duty at 10 o'clock in the morning and just go till like 4? Like,
That
it shouldn't
happens.
be like that. Yeah, but it
Yeah,
shouldn't be like that. As a
yeah,
parent, it would be like, no, what are you doing? Like, you're not playing that at 10 o'clock in the morning. You can get some food and go, like, if you want to go outside, or I'm going on a walk, or I'm going on a run, or come with me, or whatever. And the kid then knows, then, like, when he comes home and does, like, does his homework or whatever, like, it's like, then you can, have a couple of hours to yourself on the PlayStation. Like, who cares? That's fine. I don't see anything wrong with that.
yeah.
So it's just
Like
all about
the
controlling
right
the
balance.
amount.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
this is the balance and controlling the amount of it. And I think that it's great then that kids have access to technology and different things, because then, like, we're not going to have like we're not going to have fantastic people who can code and people who are going to change the way the world moves and progresses if we've no one who touches a computer properly until they're 18 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you need kids to experiment and try new things and break things and change things, but it's all about the amount of it then. Like, they can't be locked in a room from
mm,
9 in the morning to 9 at night doing computer
yeah,
games, like, or whatever.
yeah. No, I'd agree with that. It's such an interesting topic though. Like, what's too much and what's too little, and you're trying to get that balance between, yeah, leave children use technology, but don't leave it take over everything they do. You know what I mean? Don't make
Yeah.
it be their every last every single thought. It's such
Yeah,
a
but I still think there's some, like, incredible like positives that come along with it all. And, like, even like video games, and like, you're as a kid, like, you'd learn how to communicate in a to someone that you don't know, with that kind of like safety net of a technology in between. You know what I mean? By sending a message to someone you don't know online, or getting to know someone that you don't fully know or whatever online, it's like a safety net of where it's not this face to face thing straight away. And, like, I think that that can be a positive at the beginning, but once it doesn't then turn into, I can only talk to people online and I can't talk to people in person.
yeah, yeah. No, I don't know. I just feel it makes people try less. Uh, when it comes to anything, it's just everything is so easy when it's like building a relationship between friends and whatever. That's something that takes over a long period of time, and I don't know if people have the kind of attention span to kind of do that now. It's kind of
Yeah,
get
but
what I'm saying.
I think it's like the same argument of saying weed makes you lazy or whatever. You know, that argument.
Is that similar?
Because, like, it doesn't, I think it, like, enhances the personality type that may have already been there. If you're a waster and you're going to play computer games all day long, of course you're still going to be a waster, if not more of a waster. Or if you didn't even know you were a waster and then you started playing it and you just went downhill, it's the same thing. It's like, you, if someone smokes weed, that doesn't automatically put them into this, oh, they're just gonna go flying downhill and become a waster, like the stereotype of, like, oh, they can't, like, it's the same with same idea.
Kind of, yeah. I can. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Oh, yours.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so, like, I think it's too easy if you were to just blame the thing.
Um, like, but do you not think that because if you're texting someone and you're just sending, like, I don't know, like blanks or something, and that's your way of that eventually becomes your way of communicating with someone, just sending a blank selfie over and over. You know what I mean? That's some ways people. Oh, that's in some people's thought process. That's me. You know, oh, I was chatting to him, kind of a thing.
Yeah, but I think that's those people. If you threw them back in the 90s, if you what?
You're just so funny the way the way you're like, yeah, well, I think go on.
No, like if you threw those people back into the 90s, they would have been unsociable dopes as well.
I don't know. See, it's hard because
I think they would have. I think they would have been naturally the quiet, shy ones. And I think that now they're the quiet, shy ones, but they're being forced into this world where everyone can't be shy because there's social media. So they feel that they need to still communicate with people and get out to people.
But I'm not just talking about shy people. I'm just talking about people, like a lot of people in general. You know that eventually, after texting someone for a certain amount of time, they'll just send blanks, and they'll just.
Yeah, but I don't think that determines that someone is like can't hold a conversation.
I think it could definitely aid in that. Yeah, I definitely think that's a reasoning behind people not really expressing themselves, to their actual potential. Like by saying having a conversation with someone and you're just shortchanging what you're actually what you did for the day. Like say there was someone's to text you, oh, how was your day? Well, depending on who that friend is, that is, like if I used to text you that now, we would have a discussion. But I'm saying in general, if you were to talk to someone who you're not really that close with,
yeah, but those people are probably uninteresting people anyway. So like, why would you care about them?
That's quite subjective. Like that's quite a.
Yeah, it is subjective. But like if you're talking to someone and automatically they string 4 words together of like, yeah, it's fine or grand, and then it's just blank faces. It's like, yeah, they've got no personality, whatever.
But do you think that's because they have no personality, or do you think that's because that's the way they eventually became?
No, I think social media is like enhancing that and allowing it. It's like protecting them. It's like a bubble. It's like
that's my kind of point there. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not the reason why they're like that.
It's a huge reason. Yeah.
It's helping them. It's protecting them. I think those people are the same people anyway. If you strip social media from that person and you were to talk to them, I think they'd still be the same unsociable, boring, uninteresting person where you'd be able to string words together because they're forced to, because they're right in front of you. But social media is like a barrier where like they're comfortable in their own home. They don't need to do anything. And it's just allowing them be like that.
I think I would disagree with that. Because I have friends that if I was to text on message, it would be very bland and boring. But as soon as I would go see them or do something with them, they are them. You know what I mean? They are themselves. So I do feel that.
But what do you mean they are themselves?
They like that's how you see them, as you know what I mean, as like as the way they are in person compared to
but I think when you're in person, you're forced into this, like you're not going to sit there in person and be like blank, you know what I mean? Like you're forced into talking.
Again, because I know people who would be like that, then you know what I mean, who would be fairly quiet.
Yeah, but they're at the bottom end of the spectrum, like.
Well, but you like what I was saying to you there before that was that I would have friends that I would text and it would be a very boring conversation, or saying there wouldn't be really much to come from it. Like it would just be kind of like, they don't really want to text, or they don't like, or their way of texting mightn't be.
But they might like texting.
But yeah, that could be a possibility. But do you not also think that because social media is so easy just to go, kind of like not really expand on something? Do you not think that's
I think it's difficult for people to expand on things when it's typed form on an app on your phone. I think that automatically is going to limit people in all ways. I think like.
That stems back to, again, people's like.
But that's not the problem with social media. That's the problem with like humans as a species. Humans, like not everybody's good at English. Not everybody's going to be happy with expressing themselves in their best way by writing a 2-page essay or 5-page essay.
Sorry, go on.
It's the same. It's the same reason of back in 500 years ago people writing letters, and like if they wrote a letter to you, you're not going to be able to get the same impact as if you were talking to them face to face. It's going to be
No,
still
well,
different.
if
And
you were to look at a letter, right? Since you said it, how a letter would usually be a page long of what they've been doing and
yeah,
what
and you
they've been
got
up
it from
to.
a pigeon for a week, and then you never get it again for another 3 weeks. You know what I
No,
mean?
but what I'm saying is there is proper conversation going through those messages compared to just a fucking
So you
snap
think
or
a proper
whatever. You know what I mean?
conversation is a letter that you send away and wait for a response for
What I'm saying
7 days later?
what I'm saying is the what's in the letter is more of an actual conversation style kind of thing. It's
Because you're
more of a
forced, yeah, but you're forced into it because you can't,
well, you could
it's
send
not
back a
as
letter saying,
easy.
"Yeah, grand."
Yeah, like you couldn't do that.
Well, you
Like you've,
could, you
yeah,
could.
but who's going to do that? Like you've got a piece of paper that you're going to send away, and that it's a bigger deal than I can easily text someone in any second, split second of the day using anything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. And I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying I'm
No,
disagreeing
I
with
know.
any of your points. Like I agree to with a lot of what you're saying. Like what I'm saying is I feel it's a lot to do with a kind of social media, like a lot of um a lot of like kind of
I know what you're
no
saying.
messages are kind of are sent like very kind of lazy kind of messaging. But
Like that's the problem with young people as well, I think,
but
in general.
but you see, why is that? I think it stems to social media because they're exposed to it at a young age, and that they're not gonna elaborate on things. That's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, but if you're looking at the demographic of people as well, rich, white, like they have no problems with anything. They just think like, oh yeah, like I'll just text whoever I want to, whenever I want to, and however I want to, that kind of way. They don't appreciate the other person's like feelings as much of their time or their energy. So like if you took like I think if you're looking at it through your own perspective, where like you could have another kid who like understands someone else's like feelings and their time and day, and they might text you in a way better way than some rich guy that living where he's just like, oh yeah, whatever, just okay, cool, or whatever, that kind of way. I'm
But
busy, I'm
yeah,
I'm playing video games.
there's so many factors to it. You know what I mean? You can't just
Yeah,
pinpoint. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking. But
like
before the
like I think that really does stem down to more the type of person you are. Like I know loads of people who are nice people in person, and they're still nice people on text. Like they'll still have a proper full-blown conversation on
yeah,
text. But then I know loads of people who aren't nice people, and they wouldn't be nice on text either. Like a lot of the time it can correlate between both of them.
mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah,
think there's a lot of factors that come in.
yeah. And I suppose everyone has like different kind of experiences with, you know, with what we're kind of speaking about. You know what I mean? People would probably agree with both of us with a lot of situations because they'll know people on both sides of our points.
Yeah.
So it's such an opinionated kind of thing. Like that's all we're kind of doing is just speaking our opinion on matters
Like
like.
yeah, like I think as well though, like we're young people are very good at communication as well, and they're nearly more sociable than anyone in the 90s in another way. Whereas if I took a kid out in the 90s and I told you need to play a video game and talk to your friend on it, or like not even a friend, some random fella that you met in a lobby, and you were like, right, you need to hop on a video game here and you need to talk to this person, and like they'd be like, no way, what, how do I do that? I don't even know the guy, I don't even know who he is, or blah, blah, blah. Whereas if you told like a 12-year-old now, here, hop on that video game, start talking to this fella in Russia, they'd be like, all right,
video
cool.
video games, yes, but in person, no. See, for me, right, here's a story time. No, up in kind of the accommodation for college, right? there's like a shop across the road, right? And there'd be people your age doing similar courses to you who are in the same college as you, right? Who just walk past without saying hi or whatever, you know? Yeah, kind of wouldn't say nothing, right? But there's this old fella who used to go in there every day, and you know what I mean? He'd be like, "How are
Sure,
you?"
you're an old man and you chat away to him like.
But you know what I mean? Even like when I was working, even I always found that older people were very like, you know, you could have a conversation with them. You know what I mean? That's you saw me. I remember we went to, you know, the gym I used to work. I used to work, you know, as a lifeguard in. And you remember me just chatting away to all the kind of older people and stuff, because you know, they were so much more approachable, I thought, than some of my own age, which is quite.
But I think
scary too, you know what I mean?
I agree with you 100%,
Yeah.
but I also think that, and you're gonna hate me here, but I think it really does stem back to as well Ireland there. Ireland, like in Ireland, like a lot of people come off grumpy and closed off at the start, but older people in Ireland are considered so friendly and open and honest. Whereas if you travel the world, and like you'll find there's young people are a lot more approachable and like sociable and accepting. Like when I went to school in Canada, like that was like I was shocked at how many people would come up to you and chat to you and say, "Oh, where are you from? Hi, my name is whatever," and like introduce themselves and say
Yeah.
like welcome. Whereas when I went back into fifth year here, I was kind of like waiting for that kind of a like I was
Response and that.
yeah, I was nearly waiting for that Canadian response of like, "Hey, like my name's whatever," and I like, "You
Hey,
must be David."
bad.
Yeah, how's it going, eh? And
Yeah.
no one would say a word to you. They'd be looking at you like you've got two heads. Who's this guy? And they don't say a word to you. And you need to then go out of your way and get that ball rolling. And
Yeah.
that's Ireland versus other countries. So I think I understand what you're saying, but I think that has a lot to do with the culture that's here.
Yeah, see, that's a funny point you brought up there, because yeah, it could be the fact that I've only ever, you know, lived in Ireland. I only ever experienced kind of the Ireland kind of culture and that, like, because as I says, I think old people are very approachable in Ireland. I think they're very nice
No,
people.
they
I
are.
wouldn't.
They are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm not saying you didn't say that, but when I remember like, see, for you, you didn't get that response when you came back to the school. But when I think about, I think we were in third year or something. Kids, there was students who joined the school from England. I don't really want to say like names on it or anything, but you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
and everyone was kind of around him and like, oh, what you do, you know what I mean? And you know, I remember, you know, like,
Novelty of the English accent as well, though. No,
yeah, but
yeah.
you know, I think it's yeah, you know, that could as well be the point. But
Would you say everybody was around him? Or would you say
I no,
a
I
number of people were around him?
not every single person in the year, of course, but like I'm just saying, like a substantial amount of people did go over and introduce themselves and talk to him. Yeah, that's just I just
Mm,
remember it so, like, I just remember it so clearly and where it was, like, I because just a new person in the school, like, um
yeah.
obviously that fades and stuff, but I remember the initial, you know, just coming into the school, um that happened, you know. I remember even when one of our close buddies there who came from England came to the school, and you know, a lot of people were, you know, going up to him and saying, "Oh, what's happening?" You know what I mean? And
I thought that's the person you're on about.
oh no, 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 I'm on about uh I'll just tell you later. Like,
Don't
I just,
worry about it. Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't remember anything. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, okay. The new guy, our buddy, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like so
But
what I'm
I
saying
see
is,
with him, I thought there was only a couple of people that really kind of went towards him. Now, obviously, he could say that, no, what are you on about? But I thought, from his perspective, it looked like, yeah, people are going to obviously be like, "Hey, how's it going?" But like, and actually going over and introducing yourself and like helping him out or whatever.
yeah,
Would you say the entire year, whatever did?
not the
No,
entire, but
a couple of people did,
yeah,
and I think our year was almost
I
like
think.
me and you were two out of those couple of people. And if you're looking at things as well, like our year, like not every year then as well is fully friendly or like it's different
I
whatever
think
year.
it definitely depends on what year they kind of come into the school. I'm thinking of a person who came in the year beforehand. Sorry, and I think it was the year before. Yeah, it was. And
So you think people are friendlier the younger they are?
yeah, no,
I agree in a way, but that's that's messed up, isn't it? You think a 17, 18-year-old should be being able to go straight up and be like, hey, how's it going? Not a 12-year-old.
yeah, it's quite.
It's the wrong way around, like.
Sorry for the second time.
No
Um,
worries.
what was that? What was I saying that?
But
Oh yeah,
it's backward, like,
yeah.
in
It is.
age-wise.
See, it's very interesting because you know, when you're you know a child and that. I'd always remember like you know going to the playground and you'd actually just play with the most random kids when you're in there.
Yeah, because you don't
But
even care, like.
I couldn't imagine anyone bar unless I suppose that's the beauty about drinking. I know it's a like this is again this would be a brilliant podcast like about um drinking and that.
I
But
think the beauty of drinking is very wrongly
no,
worded.
yeah, but the you do know what I'm getting there.
Imagine I
Like
said the
the
beauty
beauty.
of heroin, like, is you stand around an alley with four lads and it's nice and friendly. Like, come on.
Well, listen, but you know when you're drinking, you kind of have more of a purpose to go and say hi to someone. You know, if I was to go up to someone in the street, I don't really have a purpose to say hello to them or to talk to them. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's
here, I really disagree now here. I think if you need a dose of a drug to give you the guts to go over and say hi to someone, then
well,
you're
that's the
completely,
hold
like,
on. Say now, there's a fellow walking down the street that we don't know, right?
and you need to be drunk to go up and say hi.
No, what I'm saying is, it's saying, yeah. Well, listen, right. What I'm saying is, I wouldn't just go up to someone random on the street unless I needed directions or something. That gives me a purpose to talk to them. I'm not saying I would go up to someone and just say, "Oh yeah, so how are you? Who's your day? Why would I? What are you up to?" But
Nonce.
you see, if you were on a night out or something and you were drinking or something, you kind of more of a purpose to say something. I suppose that's why people kind of really enjoy
What a
drinking,
girl.
is because of the socialism of it and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, like, see, that's I'm on about. I was just in my head. I was
We
viewing a
know
guy.
exactly what you're on about.
But
We know
yeah,
exactly what you're on
but,
about.
but that's another point. Like going up and talking to a girl. That's something like I wouldn't just go up to anyone because, like, you know what I mean? It's such a strange thing to do. Again, unless you have
I
a.
think that's largely down to the fact that you were in an all boys school from the ages of 12 to 18.
13 to 18. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's.
I think that is a huge
I mean, it
factor.
could definitely be, yeah, absolutely. But you see, well, like if I think about it, like I'm, in college and that, like you're around girls and guys, like, and you chat away to them. Ooh, but I'm on about if you were to see someone on the street now, like say now approaching a girl or whatever, like it's just such a weird thing to do. You know what I mean?
I'd be
You'd
like,
rather
oi,
just
oi.
but that's the thing as well. I think
What's
that
crack-a-lackin'?
a huge problem with that is probably like because of the likes of like Tinder and stuff. Do you know what I mean? It comes so easy. You just swipe, match, bang. Just then you can text. It's such an easier process
In the bag.
than going up to someone. I think that'd be a very good again another great great podcast to do. But yeah,
What about Tinder?
yeah, it's an interesting kind of thing to
I'd get
talk
beaten
about.
by my girlfriend if we talked about Tinder.
Oh, Jeannie. But yeah, but you see what I'm saying? Like it's such an easier way. There's like people will always look for the easiest route, and that's why you like technology and stuff because it makes stuff easier. You said it earlier. And it's easier to talk to a girl when you match them on a dating site or something, you know what I mean? Like I don't recall us ever,
I think it sets you up to failure though,
what?
using like
Apps and stuff.
Tinder and yeah.
Well,
Like I think like how are you gonna get to really, really know someone on the beginning levels of like just by doing that? Like it
yeah.
would take
And
years.
that's beauties of like nights out and stuff. Like people genuinely go out to, try and pull or whatever. But yeah, that's a huge thing. Like
You
it's
couldn't
like
pull a door closed.
it's a huge reason why people go out now. Okay. I'd have a great comeback here, but we're keeping this. We're keeping this well. I have an absolute fantastic comeback, but I'm not going to say
On
nothing.
set. I go on. Full
No, it's
send
fine.
it.
No. But yeah, it's such a. It's just the way it is. I think that's a social media problem as well. It's just how easy it is to message someone online than it is to see them, to go up to someone in person. It's such a huge thing, like,
Mm.
like, yeah, it's something to definitely kind of.
Yeah, it's weird, like, if you actually really break it down.
Yeah, it is. It's very strange.
Did you see Bumble?
The app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See the CEO there? They went on IPO, so they went onto the stock market there this week, and they're like, she's the youngest female billionaire, 31, and she was a
Is she on it
co-founder.
herself? I might find her.
Yeah. She was a co-founder of Tinder, and
Okay.
she was sexually harassed or something by one of the founders or whatever, and she was given $1 million in stock to like leave or whatever in compensation, and she left and she made Bumble. What a legend!
That's very interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Their office is wicked. It's like a proper like beehive kind of a thing. Because Bumble, like, it's like the whole
Quite funny,
hexagons and stuff going around the whole place. It's pretty cool. It's all yellow and stuff. It's like the Bee Movie in like an office. Did you ever see the Bee Movie?
Honeycomb, yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, I enjoyed
Yeah,
that.
great movie.
Big movie.
Completely off topic, but yeah.
We just
that reminded
completely
me.
went on a. We just went on a world tour there. But yeah, did you have any more points you wanted to kind of discuss about technology and that?
Not off the top of my head, no.
I'm pretty much good there. Yeah, I kind of said what I thought, and
you're satisfied.
Yeah, I'm quite satisfied. Yeah.
Have you do you believe this was a constructive and effective
podcast? Yeah, absolutely.
Conversation.
Conversation. Yes, I always every podcast I always learn something and take in something different. For people listening, I think definitely. I think it's something because again, it's something that we all are used to doing, and going onto social media and that. But actually thinking about it is something I'm only starting to do now with a lot of things, and to really think about things that I've been doing or have done. You kind of just have a more of a in-depth kind of thought now, and especially with a podcast with people again like our age and that, you can relate to some things we're saying. I hope anyway. Fuck it if we don't. I must be doing something wrong. Yeah. But yeah, that's
I'd say that's a wrap. Thanks very much, guys.